All right, welcome back, everybody. Anybody that's new here, thanks for joining me today. Real simple thing I wanted to kind of openly admit right now. I should do these more often. Those of you that subscribed and have been around for years, so I've been uploading videos for like 5 years now. I did a year where I went through and did a tackle tip Tuesday every Tuesday for almost an entire year. I'll have that playlist linked at the end of this one for anybody that's just trying to learn more about fishing and fishing hacks and whatnot. But obviously, from today's thumbnail, it's going to be a real simple one. I kind of figured I'd do something that was along the lines of what I've been filming recently, and I've been out fishing rivers again, and I've been having fun doing it. I love fishing rivers. I forgot how much fun just big fish are in general. But I wanted to do a Tackle Tip Tuesday for everybody. So all you guys that have been around, you're welcome. I know you guys have asked for these before. But this is one that kind of made the most sense to do for you. And it's going to be a river box. The best box to take or put together for river fishing in like the general sense. So not lures, not any of that stuff, just in the general sense of things you should always have, and it's real cheap. It doesn't cost very much money to put one of these boxes together. And I will actually do everyone a favor and link everything that I have in the box in the description below. And I'll try to do them in order that I go through them. But it will basically make it so that like you guys can pick up this stuff, go out fishing, and do the exact same thing I'm doing. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. And yeah. Hopefully this helps some of you guys get out there and fish some more rivers. Okay, so for starters, I'm just going to show you guys like the overlay of everything, and then I'm going to go through everything individually and exactly what I use it for. That way you guys have a better understanding, so I'm not just showing you a box and saying like, look at all this stuff. I want you guys to understand why I have everything I have. And the first things first, I'm going to start with this waterproof Plano box. I'm not sponsored by Plano. I mean, Plano, if you guys want to hit me up, I use millions of your boxes, but otherwise I'm going to keep using them regardless because this has got a waterproof seal on it. So the nicest thing is like, I don't know with all the weights in here how it would do, but like there's another one over there. I have 20 of them over on the other shelf. I have dropped them in the water with like my bobber box and it floats because it's sealed. And that's the nice thing about like when you're fishing rivers, you pull it out, it falls in the river, it's floating along, you can grab it. And even if it sinks to the bottom, water shouldn't be getting inside. I haven't thrown this in the water, but needless to say, I'll link this box down below for you guys. It's a great box. It's got a great organizer. You got to cut this thing out still yourself, but take a couple minutes, do that, and you can organize it really well. I'm going to open it up and show you guys kind of an overview so you guys can see what I'm starting with here. And then, like I said, I'm going to go through everything in here. It kind of looks like a jumbled mess, but I try to organize it as best as possible. And there's actually a reason it lays out the way it is and all the other stuff. And a couple neat little tips along the way that I've kind of learned over the years to do so that I can duplicate stuff. So let's get into it. Oh, and one thing, I don't ever do this. You guys know me. If you've been around for the years that I've been doing this, like I said, I'm going to end up with like 500 videos this year, or at the end of this year. So I'll have 500 total. But if you guys want to help support the channel, these shirts are still available. I left them up because it's part of my channel. A lot of you guys subscribed because of my Tackle Tip Tuesdays. So I figured I'd leave this available for you guys that want to support the channel and rep a Tackle Tip Tuesday shirt. It's just something simple to talk about, the TTT. One of the subscribers actually recommended that, so that's why it is the way it is. But, you know, it's a conversation starter. Plus, it kind of helps people in, like, the just general world of fishing. If they see you with this shirt on and they try to say what's TTT, you can say it's Tackle Tip Tuesday, and if they have any questions about any kind of tackle tips, it might be able to help somebody out. So just trying to do my part. And then if you guys want to help support the channel, merch link is in the description below always. So if you guys feel like doing that, I'm trying to come up with some better merch for you guys in the future here. I have some ideas, but we'll get back to this real quick. So I'm going to start basically, so I'm going to try and angle it here. I'm going to start on the row facing me. So when I showed you it, it's the bottom row, and then work my way up, and kind of why I have what I have and what goes together. So for instance, so this is the simplest thing I think everyone should have in a river box. So this is a tiny little bag, so you can see, of J-hooks. So these are just a simple J-hook, nothing crazy. I think they're like an eagle claw. They're forever old. It's just a little baggie. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a baggie of them, but I have, so these are, I forget what size these are, but like, so these are a little bit bigger J-hooks, and they're a little bit more aggressive than these ones. But as far as J-hooks and stuff are concerned, I'm just going to show you this because it's going to be way easier to just point it out and why. Okay, so what I was just showing you was this baggie of J-hooks right here. Obviously you can see I have some smaller ones, or a little bit bigger than these. These are very small. These J-hooks and these J-hooks, the ones that you can see outside the bag, that's a little bigger than the ones in the baggie. These are ones a little bit bigger than that. I really like these. These are really good. I don't know who makes them, but I mean, for a general sense, it's a thick shank J-hook. So like, you know, if you're fishing and you hook into a really big carp or something like that, it's not going to break on you. So a good heavy gauge J-hook for your mid-range. But the little ones here, the reason I have these, and I'll go over these in a minute here, but they're other smaller hooks. The reason I have these is to catch bait fish to put on the bigger hooks. These things. So obviously I have these bigger hooks. So you go out and you catch little bait fish, and if you want to use cut bait or whole bait, you have a row of bigger hooks to do that for. These are just your standard gold Aberdeen J-hook. So, I mean, these have always just worked really good for me for like crappie and, you know, live bait fishing. So I've always just got to have those around. So, long story short, J-hooks in many different sizes are a very, very, very important thing all river fishermen should just have. So even if you had a small box that was like this big, in fact, I have a broken one over here. So like if you had a smaller box, you know, that only had like that many things, dedicate like one or two of them to just having multi-size J-hooks. Okay, so on to the next thing. So those are the J-hooks. That's something everybody should have. These kind of go along with them. This one just happens to be a painted one. But like, if I can get it out without hooking myself real bad. This is just a plain, small, Gamakatsu wide walleye gap hook. And you can see how they line up. The point lines up just outside that. I've noticed that I get a much better hookup in that size compared to running something like a J-hook if I'm trying to fish a bigger live bait. So like maybe a big minnow or maybe even a small bluegill or something like that. I'm sure people with shad and stuff like that around, you'd probably do better with one of those than you would a J-hook. J-hooks I use like worms and plastics and little things, mainly to hook smaller baits and stuff like that. But the wide walleye gap hooks, these are my live bait hooks. And with those, you can see I have 3 different sizes. So I have these small ones, these medium ones, and these aren't really large ones per se, but if I can get it to separate here, it's so hard to do when you're watching it. So you can see the difference in size and gap. So this worked really good. If you've been watching my videos, this is what I was using the last time under a slip bobber with a chunk of cut bait for channel catfish, because it's got a nice wide gap. The channel cats weren't giants,
and I knew that, so I wasn't using a big circle hook. I didn't need to. And this allows you to set the hook still. It's a very, very sharp hook. Like I said, I'm going to list every one of these things in the description below. You can get it all, or you can get just a couple of them, put your own little box together. But I promise if you get these, you're going to get a lot better hookups than you will with any other hook you buy. But like I was saying, the bigger ones I use for like cut bait or a big live bait. So if I want to hook like a bluegill or something on there, you know, wherever you can use like catch bluegills and use them as bait, that's a perfect hook for that. These little ones, more so like worms and leeches and stuff like that, those work really good. That and when fish are really finicky. So assortment of those Gamakatsu hooks. Okay, so we're going to just go into the last set of hooks here. Well, last two sets. I'm just going to talk about them together. But so a little tip I'll tell you guys is to cut this out of your hook package. I know that this number right here and the 5/0, so if I put that in like Amazon or something like that, or just online a lot of times, you can actually find these hooks super fast. Or if you take this to like your bait shop, you can hand that to the bait shop guy, and a lot of times if you have that on hand, they can find that hook for you really quick. So that is just a secret. So like if I get low on these, I just restocked because I lost a bunch of them. But well, that's something else I should give everybody a tip. If you're river fishing, don't ever buy just enough. You will lose all your stuff, and then you'll be mad because you don't have the hooks. But the tag in the thing is the best. But talking about these circle hooks, I'm a little new to running circle hooks. I've fished them in the past, but I was never really good at it. So a circle hook is one hook for fishing larger cut bait or live baits. I don't know if you can see it. It's got that real sharp bend on the tip of it. These are what I actually have mainly tied on to my big bait rods. So right now I have a little Gamakatsu on that one, but then I have I think that's the 6. It's hard to show it on here. It's not going to focus. But I have the 6/0 on my big cat rod right now. Or 7/0. So I have the 7/0 and a 5/0. Those two seem to do really well for mid-sized channels, and I'm thinking, I haven't caught one yet as of this video, but I'm thinking the 7/0 should be big enough to get into the corner of even a flathead's mouth, even if I get a big one. Hopefully it works out that way. But the thing that I've learned about these hooks is you really got to be patient, and you're better off setting it up. A couple subscribers actually recommended this, and I'm really glad you guys told me. It makes sense, so I'm going to kind of repeat it to you guys. With circle hooks, you're better off letting a fish run, and if you have like a bait feeder or something, just shut the bait feeder and let them hook themselves, or just start reeling against the fish, because the hook is designed, like, I know why they're designed the way they are. So the hook is designed to catch the corner of the mouth, and as it puts pressure on it, dig in all by itself. So the hook does the work for you type thing. And this is for, you know, obviously bigger mouth fish. I've been hooking largemouth bass with these just fine, and northern pike and stuff like that. So they do work really good for basically all species in, you know, in rivers. But that's the plethora of hooks. I always just have a couple spare treble hooks laying around. These are mainly for like if I have a jerk bait or a bait that I lose a hook on or break a hook off on, I can do that. I don't normally fish treble hooks like under slip bobbers or anything like that. I might do that if I'm missing a bunch of fish, but that's just as like a backup to having some extra hooks around. Otherwise, you got your J hooks in different sizes. Then you got your Gamakatsu walleye wide gaps, and then these are Gamakatsu actually circle hooks. So that covers all the hooks. Okay, so I don't need to sit there and point this at the rest of this stuff. I just wanted to get a real good overview of like, they're not all completely drastically different. I have an array of circle hooks, I have an array of J hooks, and I have an array of those wide gap walleye gap hooks. And then like I was saying with the wide gap walleye gap hooks, I'm going to list them in the description,
But I mean, you can get them as small as this, like bluegills and stuff like that. You can catch them on these. I actually use these for like catching creek chubs and shiners and stuff like that. They work really good. They work good for catching suckers and stuff like that if you're having a hard time getting bites. But then, like, say you catch a sucker and you cut it up for cut bait and you're trying to fish it underneath the bobber, these Gamakatsu hooks are razor sharp and they work really good. So that's just, you know, like I said, you can have a variety of sizes of the same hook, and it's good to have a variety of sizes. Anyways, so the next thing I'm going to go into is basic hardware. Something that I always recommend. So I know a lot of people like to just fish braid. Something I will always do. Well, this is only 6-pound test, but I have, like, this is a used spool. So I that's not enough to fill another spool of line. So I keep it around and I make leaders out of it till it's gone, and then I throw it away. That way you're not wasting line and stuff like that. It's not cheap. This is like $10 a thing. So I have my line listed in all the descriptions. It's just one of the favorite ones that I've been using for years, and it's been really reliable. But with braid and using this, you want a good heavy duty inline swivel. So either an inline swivel or a 3-way. So you have your inline, so the braid would tie to here, and you would tie your fluoro to here, and then that would tie to your hook. The 3-way, it's the same thing. A lot of people do, what are they called? Like a break-off rig, and a way to make it so that you don't lose all your important stuff. So like your hook, your swivel, you know, your other swivel, whatever. The best thing I've seen done is you take something like this. You have your main line off of here, right? So say you have 40-pound braid over here. You have like 25-pound fluoro over here. And then here, down to like your sinker, you only have like 8 or 10-pound line. So way weaker than everything else. So the only thing you lose if you get snagged on something, if your sinker gets hung up, is your weight. And then you get your swivel, your leader, your hook, and your bait back. That's why a lot of people use these. Live bait rigging that way seems to work the best. Like if you're trying to keep a bluegill up off the bottom or anything up off the bottom so fish can feed up to it. But my go-to, really, and I try to keep it as simple as possible, is inline swivel. So I'm going to tell you how I have it loaded out in a second here. Let me finish telling you about like the weights and stuff like that, and I'll point the camera at it to make it easier for you guys.
Okay, so if you're new to river fishing, this is one of those things where you're gonna, everybody's really confused. I know a lot of people just have a bunch of these around their split shots, and they're like, "That's all I need. It's all I'll ever need." I know guys that will argue to the teeth that that's all they'll ever need. But basically, it's good. Start with these, and if that's all you can afford is get a bag of these or like a mixed container. They sell containers that have 5-6 different sizes of split shots. That's what those are called. Those are your best, like, do all things. You can combine this with any one of these hook setups, and you're good. Now, when you get into like river fishing and you're doing it a lot, split shots are good to have, but you really want a variety of sinkers. So these are egg sinkers. These are, I think they're Lindy rig style sinkers, or a slider. Like, they look like a little boot. The way you put them on your line is the line comes, like, from your rod. It comes in from here and goes out there. So when you're reeling it in, and this is up against your swivel, it bounces across the bottom and doesn't get snagged. So these are like an anti-snag sinker. I have a variety. Those are my 2 favorite sizes. I use the most. If I'm fishing something with heavy current, I always have a couple of really big ones. I don't remember what these ones are. They might even be like a 1 or 2 ounce sinker. Something that a lot of people don't think about is anti-roll sinkers. So like this is a 1.5 ounce. An anti-roll sinker it does exactly that. So when the current hits it, it pins whatever you're fishing with to the bottom. So this is in line, just like that. And these get snagged a little bit more often. I don't use them often unless I'm really fishing heavy current a lot. But the best setup I have come up to date, thankfully I had a subscriber recommend these sliders to me a little while back, are these weight sliders. So I have one of these on my rod already, and I'm going to show you guys what these are all about and how cool they actually are. And I'll just grab one of these guys to kind of show you. So this is a really heavy, I forgot what this is. It's like 40, no, this is 80 gram, so it's over an ounce. But so on my big rod right now, on my big catfish one, I have the slider. So that goes on first. A slider bumper, so that goes on second. Then you tie it to your swivel, and then you have your fluoro leader or whatever leader you want to use. And see how there's no weight on this, right? It's just sitting here freely. It's not messing up a bunch of stuff. You'll see they have a little clip on them. See the little loop? Unclip it, put this on there, clip it back on there. Now you have it on there. Use it for the day. When you're done, take it off. The nicest thing is when a fish takes it, this slides so freely compared to this, because there's more contact in this tube right here. It allows it to slide up and down your braid more freely, because with the wire and stuff like that on these, the wire will dig in. So like wire on that, like if you're trying to run these on your line, they're not all perfectly smooth. That hole's not all perfectly smooth. These guys especially don't like to slide, because a lot of times they'll get mashed down. Like that hole won't be perfect. Like especially if you run it into rocks and stuff. This is lead, so it deforms and stuff. But those sliders, I think they're made by Sumo, right? I have the stickers over here. Yeah, Catfish Sumo. So, like I said, I'll have all of this stuff linked in the description below. But like, if you're trying to fish a slip rig with a heavier weight, I highly suggest this. If you're just going out to have some fun and catch whatever fish with some J hooks and stuff like that, you can run any one of these without the slider kit and save yourself a bunch of money. Last but not least is my like walleye rod or walleye setups. And these are mainly for like walking across rocks. So this sits on your line and keeps your bait elevated, and when you're dragging it or drifting, like if you're drifting down a river or something like that, or across a lake for catfish or anything else like that, that's just a really good thing to have. I forgot what they're called actually. It's a no snag sinker. I think Lindy makes them. But yeah, that no snag sinker is really good when you're drifting and fishing, like trying to drag baits across something like that. It's not really good for like sitting still, like these guys are. Like these guys plant themselves in the mud. That's why I like buying these. They literally, when they hit the water, they swim and plant themselves in the mud, and then you have your slider that's hooked into it and that sits above it. So by default, you're always like 3 to 4 inches off the bottom with your line, and it keeps it from getting hung up on stuff.
Okay, so like I was saying, hopefully the guys that are, or all you people that are subscribed, like have been subscribed forever, hopefully you guys got excited a little bit about the Tackle Tip Tuesday. It kind of just struck me as like, this is a Tackle Tip Tuesday. This is what it should be. And anybody that's new here, hopefully I went over it in the proper detail, not like overly done, so that you guys can really break down waterways and stuff like that. And then, like I said before, if you're going to get the stuff, even if you're only going to get like 1 or 2 things, so like I said, everything will be linked in the description. If you're only going to get like 1 or 2 things, do yourself a favor and buy more than you think you'll need, because the biggest thing with river fishing that people don't understand is they're going to lose a lot of stuff. There's just no way around it. You're going to get snagged on logs. You're going to get You're going to find rocks. If you fish below dams and spillways, you're going to get hung up on boulders and broken concrete. It doesn't matter how tough your line is, you're going to break off. So buy an appropriate amount of what you think you're going to use. If you want to, you can put your whole box together. If you get everything that I have linked in the description, I should be able to find everything that's in there and link it for you guys in the description. And you guys can build this, and you know, you can buy the box, you can buy everything that goes in it, and you're good. And most people, if you had this box, would be good for like 20 years. Most people. I fish like 3 to 5 days a week. I put out 3 to 4 videos a week. I break off a lot when I'm river fishing. I just don't show it all. I mean, it would be kind of redundant if you guys saw me break off every single time, because pretty much every time I go river fishing, I lose stuff. So that's just the thing. The big thing I want to let everybody know is this is going to be a part 1. Yes, I'm going to do another Tackle Tip Tuesday, but I'm going to make it a separate video because it's more along the lines of the lures and stuff like that, and how to put together a good box just for river and creek fishing. Obviously you can have like a generalized box, but this is going to be your, like, if you carry everything that's in this box, I promise you guys, if you can't catch fish on what I have in the next video's box, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Hopefully you guys like golf or something, but either way, like I said before, merch linked in the description. It's always linked down there if you guys feel like supporting the channel. Everything you guys buy does help out the channel a little bit. Obviously, like and subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. But yeah, stay tuned. I have some other good videos coming out. I have some other plans for some more river fishing. I'm going to be doing a lot of that this year. I have a lot of plans. I'm going to be back in the boat, so if you guys like boat fishing, don't worry, I'm going to get back out there. I have other plans, and then I have some missions. So if you guys have been following along on my Instagram at DWSDave31, yeah, I got some lures, and I got a new addiction to buying lures on eBay. It's not good, but I found some stuff I really want to get out and catch some fish on. So stay tuned for those videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you're not new here, you know what's up. But if you are new, could you please just remember to